Hello grade 2, welcome to Math with Mrs. Miller. Today we're going to be talking about subtracting double-digit numbers. So last week we talked about adding our double-digit numbers and we learned about a new strategy called regrouping. So today, or this week, we're going to be learning about how to regroup when we are subtracting to make it a little bit easier for when we stack those numbers together. Okay, so you've watched a couple videos where on BrainPop where Annie and Moby have talked to you about two different types of subtracting. So the first one is without regrouping, and so that means that we can just stack those numbers. You put the bigger number on top and the smaller number underneath, and what you can easily do is from those, starting with the ones first, we subtract, then the tens, and we subtract. And we don't need to do any regrouping because those numbers will easily subtract from one another, okay? Now, the other side, which you just watched another video from, is when we have to regroup. And that's when some of our numbers or our digits are going to be bigger on the bottom than they are on the top, okay? So what is really important when we are subtracting and doing regrouping is that we need to figure out what is going to be the best strategy for us for this specific question. Because all questions are going to be different, and you need to have your little toolkit of all the different strategies that you know how to do so that you can choose the best one for that question. So our first step today is we are going to quickly go through the poster that your parents printed off for you. It's the one that's called Subtracting Greater Numbers. So using this poster, I'd like you to make sure you have that one in front of you, and we're going to go through this one together to go through some of these strategies, and then you'll be able to practice some of them yourself.
All right, so let's go through this poster together. The very first question they give us to look at is 42 minus 8. And you have Rob and Kevin who have two different strategies of working with this question. If you take a look at Rob here, what he's done is he started on a number line, started at 42, counted back 2 to 40, and then back 6. So he's using those friendly numbers of those tens, 40 and 30, right, to go backwards. And so he finds it easier to just subtract 2 first, and then he adds 6, or he takes away 6 more. You have Kevin here who used a pattern. This is a really interesting way of actually looking at it. Okay, so he started with 12 take away 8, he knows is 4. 22 take away 8 is 14. 32 minus 8 is 24. And 42 minus 8 is 34. Okay, now let's take a look at the next one here. 72 minus 48. So you have two different people who have looked at it in a totally different way. First one, Chandra here, has looked at it as a number line. And what she's done is she's just used the tens column in 48 to subtract first. So she knows that 72 minus 40 is going to be 32. Now she needs to deal with that ones column, that 8. And so she's gone back 8 down to 24. Lily has actually looked at it using our base 10 blocks. So she's drawn out 72 and she's taking away 50. The reason she's taking away 50 is that 50 is very close to 48. And she knows that it's very easy to just quickly take away 50. So instead what she's done is she's taken away that 50 and knows that she's done 2 more because 50 is 2 more than 48. And so she needs to add them at the end. Then you have the next question of 68 minus 52. So Wyatt, what he's done again is he's used a number line. Shengnan has used our base 10 blocks. So what I would like you to notice with all of these ones is that you can do these questions in a lot of different ways, and what you need to know is that you need to choose the one that works the best for you and how you can understand it the best. If you want to use a hundreds chart, use a hundreds chart. If you want to use a number line, go ahead. If you want to use your base 10 blocks, go ahead and do that as well. You could also print out another copy of those base 10 blocks to help you solve some of your problems if that helps you visualize those numbers a little bit easier.
So now that you have gone through that poster, you've watched a couple videos on different strategies, it's your turn to practice. If you need to go back and watch any of those videos, please do. I know the BrainPop ones are very, very helpful for me when I try to visualize how to subtract those numbers. So please go back and do that. Now, your first step in practice is going to be in your Math Focus workbook, and that is on page 84. So if you go to page 84, it's going to look just like this. And the whole idea of this one is that you are wanting to check whether they have done the right answer. And you also need to be able to show the strategy and how you solved the problem in order for you to prove that. So you have 3 questions that you're going to do to start off today. Okay? So it says up at the top here, I tried to subtract 39 minus 4. Is 35 the right answer? So first off, you need to answer whether that's the right answer. And the only way to figure that out is to actually do the question 39 minus 4. And you need to show your strategy in this box. Okay? So you need to not only say whether that's the right answer, you also need to show that strategy. Then you need to move down to the next one. It says here, I tried to subtract 56 minus 8. Is 64 the right answer? Show how you know. So, 2 different steps for every single question. Solve the question, and then let us know whether it is the right answer or not. So what I would like you to do is to pause this video and do this page. Make sure you take a picture and then come right back to it because we're going to do the next step together. Okay, so now that you have done page 84 and you have taken a picture of that one, okay, you don't need to submit it quite yet because you'll submit it all together at the very end. You'll be submitting 2 pages to your teacher. The next page is 85, and we are actually going to be doing that one right next to it, and that is comparing heights. So this is a little bit more of a problem-solving question, and let's go through the instructions together so that you know what you're doing before you get started, and then I'm going to let you go ahead. Okay? So what we're going to do is let's start up at the top. It says comparing heights. Eve said, I am 8 cubes taller than my cousin. So you have a whole list of people on this side, and you have all of their heights in cubes. Your job is to figure out who is Eve's cousin. What I know now is that Eve is 8 cubes taller than her cousin. So maybe my first step is to figure out if there's anybody taller than Eve. That definitely won't be her cousin. Definitely needs to be somebody who is less than what Eve is. And Eve, I know, is 63. I'm 8 cubes taller than my cousin. So I'm not going to give you much more information because I would like you to figure out how you're going to solve this problem. And what I know is that when I am subtracting, I am trying to figure out how many more or how many less of something there is. So if you ever have a question that says how many more or how many less, you're actually just finding that difference between those 2 numbers, and that's when subtraction is really important, because subtraction is finding the difference between 2 numbers. And that's what you're doing here. You're finding the difference between Eve and all these other people. So you might actually need a little more space to work. So grab your visual journal or your math journal if you need to do some more work, or even your whiteboard. And I would like you to figure out who her cousin is. Okay, now at the very bottom there's also a next little step. It says, Maria said, I am blank cubes taller than Liam. So you need to actually take a look at Maria, who is 68, and Liam, who is 52. You need to find the difference between those 2 numbers. As soon as you're done that, I would like you to take a picture of both of these pages, submit them to your teacher for us to mark, and to show us how you're doing with subtraction. Now, same with addition, and what I've said before is that if you're having a hard time with your addition and subtraction, I would like you to let your teacher know, so that you can pop into office hours and we can help you out. Because it's all about choosing the right strategy for that specific question, and we can help you out with that. But it's hard for us when you're at home, so please let us know if you're having a tricky time, and we are here to help you. All right, I will see you next time on Math with Mrs. Miller, and I hope you have a great day. Bye, grade 2.